back to POV Italian Cooking, where you see cooking from my point of view. Today is our Halloween episode, but the only thing scares you're going to see here is just the increasing glow off my shiny forehead. But what we're going to do for today's episode is we're going to do a baked macaroni and cheese. We're going to do a little spin on it, and that we're going to bake it in 4 little pumpkins. A lot of folks, they see a pumpkin, they just think, gee, this is just a Halloween decoration, or all you can do is make pies. These are actually a fruit, so you can pretty much eat them just like they are. The taste is completely different than what you'll get in the canned pumpkin. Something that you may not know about canned pumpkin is that it contains only about 25% of real pumpkin. Everything else is just like a mix of different gourds. So we're gonna use this kind of as our bowl to bake our mac and cheese in. That way when you're done eating your mac and cheese, you can just take your fork and kind of eat the pumpkin from inside. So it's pretty cool. Never done it before, always wanted to bake with pumpkin like this, so we're going to give it a shot. Let's take a look at our ingredients so we can get rolling. Let's take a look at the ingredients for our mac and cheese. See, we got in our Halloween episode, we got a little bit of help from Zeus there sitting in the background. So I had to write these ingredients down because there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. So of course we got our 4 pumpkins. What we're going to do is just really cut the tops off and kind of clean them out like we're making a jack-o'-lantern. And again, these are just going to kind of serve as the bowl, as the conduit for our mac and cheese. We are going to start with a basic roux, 1 stick of unsalted butter. Then we're going to add 6 tablespoons of flour. Then once we get our roux going there, we're going to add 4 cups of whole milk and 1 cup of heavy cream. And then once that's all ready to go, we will then add 1.5 tablespoons of mustard powder, salt and pepper, just to taste. And then we're going to add 16 ounce of shredded extra sharp cheddar. We're going to add 4 ounces of shredded Gruyere, 4 ounces of Fontina, and a couple ounces of Parmesan. And we're just going to kind of mix that all together, and then we're going to melt that into our roux. Then we're going to use the remaining half of our Gruyere and Fontina just kind of to sprinkle along the tops of our mac and cheese. And then again, we're going to finish it with a little bit of panko over top to give it that little crust. We're going to use probably about 1¼ pounds of the cavatappi pasta. I like it because it's nice and curly. It's kind of fun. So we use 1.25 pounds of that. We'll get that going on our stove real soon. So I'm going to move some stuff around. Going to get my cheese shredded. Going to get some of this prep stuff done, and then we'll be back. I have repositioned over to my food processor because what I've done is I've got my shredder attachment in, but I did want to share the reason I always buy blocks of cheese and then shred it myself is that when you shred cheese, you do lose some moisture. Over time, it just kind of seeps out of the cheese. Because we're making mac and cheese, we want nice gooiness. We want that liquid in there. So it's important that you buy a block of cheese and shred it yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. This is pretty slick. I've never used this attachment before. Let me see if I can get in a good position so you can see. Just drop your cheese in, press it down, and the shredding magic happens. So it's pretty slick, but I'm going to go ahead and get my cheeses done and we'll be back. Okay, I'm going to work on our pumpkins now. Really all we're going to do with our pumpkins, we're going to treat them like a jack-o'-lantern. Now we are going to discard the top, so we're just going to kind of cut around, clean it up, get the pumpkin guts out of it. Then we'll go back to working on our cheese sauce. Alright, I'm over at the stove. It's time to start our roux. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 1 stick of unsalted butter. Going to get this melting. As this melts, or when it starts to melt, I'm going to throw in 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. That's going to be the base of our roux. We're going to cook the roux until it turns brown, probably about 4 minutes. And really what you're trying to do there is you're cooking the flour flavor out of the roux. If you just start mixing everything else in, when you're done, your dish is just going to reek of flour. So I'm going to get this butter melted. Alright, my butter's starting to melt. So now I'm just going to do 6 tablespoons of flour to serve as, again, this is going to be our base roux. It's more or less a thickening agent for our milk and heavy cream that we're going to be putting in here in a second. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to use, medium heat we're going to say, and just keep stirring this non-stop until everything gets melted and it turns light brown. So once I get everything melted, then it will cook for about 4 minutes. And as fascinating as that would be to stand and sit there and watch me stir this for 4 minutes, I'm going to break away and come back when it's done. Our roux has browned up. It's been about 4 minutes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add 4 cups of whole milk. We're going to try to get this incorporated completely. Kind of add it slowly, not dump it all in there. I do have a whisk, so once we get all the milk and heavy cream in here, then I can really whisk it up here. So there's 1 cup. Okay, our 4 cups of milk has been incorporated. Now we're going to add 1 cup of heavy cream. Yeah, you're not going to find this mac and cheese recipe on your Weight Watcher menu. There's our 1 cup of heavy cream. Now what I'm going to do is kind of clean up here real quick, but what we want to do is whisk this together, get it heated up, bring it up to temperature slowly, but you want to get it kind of almost boiling because we need to be melting our cheese here real soon. So I have been standing here stirring the roux, milk, and heavy cream for a while, and you can see there's a little bit of steam coming off from it. It has thickened up. We're going to leave the heat on because now what we're going to do is we're going to add our cheese mix. And again, our cheese mix was, a pound of extra sharp cheddar, 4 ounces of Gruyere, 4 ounces of Fontina, 2 ounces of Parmesan. Now there's nothing fancy about adding this. Actually, before you add your cheese, you are supposed to salt and pepper to taste. We like a lot of salt. You know, I got to keep that blood pressure high. Pepper, I'm not using my pepper grinder tonight because it does kind of a bigger flake of pepper, so I'm just using the old-fashioned pepper, and I apologize that the camera's shaking, but I'm shaking the pepper shaker. Probably should have taken the top off and done it another way, but hey, why think about it? Just do it. Okay, the next thing we need to add is 1 1/2 tablespoons of the ground mustard. I'm going to do this, what they always teach you not to do is to not do your spices over your main course here, but I'm going to do it because I'm in a hurry. Alright, I eyeball it. That's close enough to 1 1/2. So now we mix all these together, mix our seasonings in, make sure that everything gets incorporated and is not lumpy. Now all we got to do is we want to add our cheese in batches. Don't want to dump the whole thing in because we want everything to get nice and mixed in. So I'm just going to keep doing this until, whoo, camera's steaming up there. Apologize, guys. Just going to keep doing this in batches until the cheese completely melts. And then once I get it all done, we'll be back. I have added the last of our cheese and it is completely melted. I have our pasta done. We used the cavatelli noodles, the nice curly noodles, just because I thought it'd be pretty fun. Did those to an al dente. So now that everything's done, all our seasoning is in, now all we gotta do is mix in our pasta, and it's sticking a little bit, so I'm just gonna use my hands. I washed my hands yesterday, so nobody here has to worry about anything. I'm gonna get this broke up, get this added, stir it in, and then we're going to reposition over to the table and start loading up our pumpkins. Ow, I'm burning the crap out of myself. I did not want to put olive oil over the pasta to keep it from sticking because that would prevent the cheese from adhering the way we want it to. So we finished mixing in the rest of the macaroni, or actually it's the cavatelli pasta. And wow, that gooey goodness. Getting ready to go over to our table. We're going to start loading these pumpkins. Okay, I got our pumpkins ready. Really all I've done is like a jack-o'-lantern, just clean them out, get the seeds out. I left them open pretty wide on the top just to make it easier to get the macaroni in. Now all we're going to do, and this isn't brain surgery, thank God, because if it was I couldn't do it. We're just going to load our mac and cheese into our pumpkin. Bring it right up to the top. We want to make sure we got it good and packed down in there. Now I'm in a hurry on this one, so I'm making a little bit of a mess. And I should be slowing down. Now that's enough right there. Why is that enough? Well, once I get these loaded, we're going to sprinkle some cheese, some extra cheese on them, because Lord knows that's not enough. And then sprinkle some panko breadcrumbs on the top. So again, just leave a little bit at the top. I'm going to get the rest of these ready then we will be back. I have topped off our pumpkins. So now all we're going to do is I took the remaining Gruyere and Fontina cheese and a little bit of Parmesan, mixed them all together. We're just going to put a little bit of cheese over the top. One of my dogs is barking because she's being a butthead. Just going to add a little bit of cheese to the top like so. Again, because gee, I don't think there was enough cheese in this recipe with, you know, the pound of extra sharp cheddar and Gruyere and Fontina. So once I get a little bit of cheese added like that, then we're going to come in with panko breadcrumbs and just sprinkle a little bit over the top. Not much. We just want to give it a little crunch. Once I've done this, we are going to bake these for, we'll say a half hour, 35 minutes. Now I do have some mac and cheese left. I'm going to put them in a casserole dish here and bake this for about 20-25 minutes just because it's not as deep. It won't need to bake as long. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get these in the oven, let them bake 30 minutes, then we'll be back and see how this turns out. I believe our macaroni and cheese stuffed pumpkins are ready to come out of the oven. Wow, look at that brown on top. Pretty cool. I'm going to get this plated up, kind of let it quit bubbling for a second here. Get one of these plated up, see how they taste. I plated up my pumpkin, which really means I set the pumpkin on a plate because what else are you going to do to it, right? This is our macaroni and cheese stuffed pumpkin baked in the oven. Wow, look at that cheesiness. Look at that. Woo, it's going to be good. It's good. Tell you what, that's pretty good. It's I'm glad I used the extra sharp cheddar because the other cheeses I added to it kind of brought it down a little bit, made it more mild. Of course, the panko breadcrumbs on the top give it a nice crunch. Pasta's done very well. What I'm doing now is I want a bite of the pumpkin flesh. So this is the actual pumpkin. Wow. Baked pumpkin like this has such a different taste than what you get in those canned pumpkins. Very lightly pumpkin flavored, very sweet, very tender. At any rate, this macaroni and cheese is really, really good. So before it gets cold, I'm going to get my wife over here and we're going to eat this because this is a lot of mac and cheese. So at any rate, you could put crab in this, you could put lobster in this, you could dress it up a little bit to make it just something more than just mac and cheese. But at any rate, thanks for watching POV Italian Cooking. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out our webpage at povitaliancooking.com. But most importantly, click that subscribe button in YouTube. Thanks for watching. Happy Halloween and ciao.